let's look at the impact of the problem employee. The problem employee impacts your workplace and employees negatively, constantly and insidiously. Smart employees shun the problem employee, realizing the impact he has on their own positive workplace morale. But employees who feel a bit like he does about a change, the workplace in general, or their jobs, are quick to echo the problem's point of view. This further poisons your workplace morale and productivity. If you let the problem employee get away with this behavior, you train him or her that the behavior is acceptable. The person's coworkers, who are probably picking up the slack, become demoralized because they work hard and contribute and see that the problem employee does not. In addition, they lose respect for your management and possibly their faith in the company because you're failing to deal with the problem that everyone in your workplace sees. The problem employee's coworkers depend on you to deal with the problem. They may make cutting remarks, shun the non-performer, or talk quietly among themselves, but they don't feel enabled or equipped to deal with the borderline performer. They just feel his impact on their work and their workplace, and they're right. Coworkers can do their little bits to encourage the problem employee to contribute. They can make norms for the team, give coworker feedback, and express unhappiness, but the problem employee has no obligation to change or improve. The behavior of the problem employee is ultimately the manager's responsibility to address. Your first step with the problem employee is to figure out what went wrong. Something went wrong, believe me. This will give you insight into what caused the behavior that's troubling the workplace. Most employees start out enthusiastic and excited about their new job. They find their enthusiasm punctured somewhere along the way, though, or they puncture their own enthusiasm. It works both ways. Figuring out what happened is key if you're committed to help the problem employee become not a problem employee, but a contributing member of your work team. It's a rare employee who wakes up in the morning and decides to have a miserable day at work. It's a rare employee who wants to feel failure as he leaves the workplace every day. It's a rare employee, but I guarantee you they do exist. And the employee believes that it's not his fault, it's yours. You are the problem, or the workplace is the problem. So once you've worked with the employee to discover the source of his unhappiness and low morale, you can help the employee to do something about it. With a problem employee, this is a tough step. First, he has to own the responsibility for his actions and reactions to workplace happenings that may have occurred years ago. This is a tough step for you too. You may decide his concerns and unhappiness are legitimate. If so, a sincere apology is in order, even if you had nothing to do with the occurrences that generated the problem. The problems could have all happened before you even got there. At the very least, an acknowledgement that you believe that some of his low morale is legitimate may be in order. It also makes sense to ask what about the work system is causing the employee to fail. You may also decide that he brought his lousy attitude to your workplace and your company did an inadequate job of screening out a potentially poorly performing employee. Regardless of the details, on some level, the employee must own that his reaction to the circumstances belongs to him. He must own his reaction. Our reactions to the changing circumstances around us may be the only factor that is always under our control in situations. Whatever you decide about why your problem employee is a problem employee, I'm going to start listing the actions you can try. One thing you can do is help the problem employee see what's in it for him to succeed and improve. Both personal and professional gains result from improved performance and a commitment to success. You can also assure the employee that you have faith in her ability to succeed. Sometimes supportive words from a supervisor or manager are the first she's received in years. It could, you don't know how long it's been since the employee has gotten any recognition for a job well done. Help the employee set several short-term achievable goals. These should be time-based and have clear outcomes about which you both agree. Some of these goals can address employee attitude in behavioral terms. By this I mean that it's not possible for you and the employee to share a clear picture of a bad attitude, but you can share a picture about the behaviors the employee exhibits that make you think bad attitude. Then monitor the employee's progress. Make sure the employee has something to do that he likes every day. Finally, let's look at how to deal with an employee who challenges your authority. This is another matter entirely that has to be dealt with. An employee who confronts and contravenes management authority is a menace. The key to dealing with problem employees who question management decisions is to move quickly. Don't let employee disgruntlement and employee dissatisfaction ruin your organization. If you wait too long, your good employees will leave because the work environment may become intolerable to them. Even if it doesn't come to that, the undermining of your authority may permanently damage your authority. If you're willing to let an underling berate you publicly, do you think others will continue to maintain their faith in you? Probably not. Their esteem for you as a manager will likely plummet, and in turn, their productivity and motivation will plummet as well. Having said that, don't act too rashly. It's possible the employee had a bad day or was legitimately upset that something didn't go their way. While it's not ideal, that sort of behavior is human. Time generally heals that wound. But when the employee bad behaviors appear to be long-term in nature, you need to recognize that your organization has been poisoned and quickly find the antidote. The antidote that works best is terminating the ill-behaved employee. Get them out the door as soon as you can. The worst mistake you can make is hoping that they will magically transform from a bad hire into a good hire. Offering a shape up or ship out warning is a nice gesture if you want to go that route. Over time, you'll gain intuition on which problem employees are worth saving. Part of issuing an employee warning has to involve good listening skills and empathy. Simply start with, the way you've been acting lately is causing some problems. Is there something going on that you want to tell me about? At this point, many employees will play dumb. What are you talking about? They may ask you. Be ready with the details, as in, on this date, you said X, Y, and Z. In this meeting, you said this. Explain the negative consequences of their actions and make it clear that you will not tolerate the behavior. Don't get into an argument about the details. Keep it at a high level. You want to always take the high ground. Listen to what they have to say and think seriously if there's a cure for what is making the employee so hostile and confrontational. Maybe shifting the responsibilities might turn things around. At the end of your conversation, give your warning one more time and we will let you go. You've put the ball in their court and it's now up to them to become a better employee. Now, what about a scenario in which you constantly are running into hostile employee situations? In this case, it's time to take a look in the mirror and see if maybe you are the one at fault. For example, maybe you are taking constructive criticism as a threat to your authority, making a mountain out of an employee problem molehill. It's normal to have one problematic employee every 20 hires. If your hit rate is higher than that, either your recruiting process is flawed or you are the problem. I'm going to give you some ideas to deal with a problem employee, but if you've done your best and the employee isn't changing, you can responsibly, ethically, and legally help the employee move on to their next employment opportunity. Next week we'll cover how to ethically and legally fire the incurable problem employee. I hope you'll find some of this advice to be helpful in working with employees, especially problem employees. This is the end of this week's lectures. I really appreciate you listening to them. And as always, I look forward to reading your work for this week.